views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
So sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Welcome back this week, everybody, to Doing It with Styles. I got a special announcement that I'm going to make, and for all you people who aren't watching today, as you know, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. And we are in the process of creating a new show for our Roku network called Seriously Sci-Fi. And for that, I have invited here a bunch of weird sci-fi cosplay people.
Not weird.
Oh, not weird?
It's not weird to be in uniform.
Oh, no, I didn't say it was weird to be in uniform. I said it was just weird.
Okay.
And I'd like to introduce David Seven Mclennan.
Yes, sir.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the group and what it's all about, the Windrunner, and what the hell are you doing here?
So this is my crew of the USS Windrunner. We are a chapter of a larger international organization called Star Trek: The Fleet. It's based out of California. We're opening up chapters, Arizona, New Mexico, possibly Illinois, but we have chapters in Japan. So what we are is a fandom cosplay charity group. We believe in giving back to the community and building community. One of the things we're really passionate about is literally it takes community to build community, and we have people from so many different backgrounds coming together with the single focus of building this community, having fun, and giving back to our community. So
nice. when you talk about charity events, there's a local group here called the Las Vegas Avengers. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
I have not met them.
And they are cosplayers, and they go to visit the kids in the hospital in Marvel costumes and stuff like that. They're all volunteers. They take no money. They take donations because they buy little toys and coloring books and things like that for kids that are hospitalized. So do you guys have anything planned like that, or something that focus or a cause or a hill to die on? Or you still figuring it out?
No, we actually are working out our whole charity giving thing.
Okay.
We're going to start off by recognizing community leaders and small businesses. As we build, we want to start donating to children's hospitals. A cause that I am really passionate about is scoliosis and autism. So I would love to start visiting children, making donations to these causes in the name of the Windrunner.
Cool.
So yeah, we're looking to do stuff like that, to really get involved in the charity works of Las Vegas. I'm
going to put you in touch with a group that I work with. It's called Sons of Liberty. They are a CBD company out of Pahrump. And they've got about 400 acres up there. They grow their own hemp. They create it's all run by veterans. And they are in the process of, they've got a 400-acre ranch up there, and they're in the process of getting some horses and working with kids with autism, veterans who are coming back, kind of therapy horses.
Right.
And so that might be an area that you might want to get involved with them, especially with your background in agriculture as well.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And why don't you introduce your crew here and tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Okay, so to my far left, this is Ty Hummin. He is my intelligence officer. Ty.
Hi. So in the group, I lived in Vegas for like 21 years. I've kind of tried to go out of my way to keep track of all the different groups. You know, sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars, steampunk, Civil War, Ren Fair, Pirate Fest, Magic, D&D, anything nerdy. Well, all the bars, all the shops, you know, comics, toys. I used to have an antique mall pre-corona. Worked at an antique mall. So I'm a big fan of Star Trek, ultimately because of infinite diversity and infinite combination. I just believe in that. The inclusion factor, absolutely believe in that. Everybody wants to feel part of something. Star Trek's great for that. I just wish they made costumes in 3X.
Well, listen, I know some cosplayers who create their own costumes, so
I
might be of help there.
apparently need a-
And some steampunkers as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been in the Valley, like I said, for 20 years, so I've done a lot of the different groups and a lot of the different, my good friend Ben here, he really twisted my arm because I was just being a butthead. He said, you gotta meet David, he's awesome, right? And I did, and he is. David has got amazing enthusiasm, includes everybody, he's fired up, he just wants to like take the club to the next level, wants to interact with the the charities and the cities and the local businesses and small businesses and the kids. He's got a great vision. I believe in his vision. I believe in my crew. And I'm just literally happy to help out in the name of Star Trek and science fiction and charity.
Cool.
All right.
Give you this minute. I told you don't call me here. The money's on the dresser. I always leave the money on the dresser. I'll call the agency. Yes, I want you back too. Okay, thanks. Bye. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Can I get her number?
It's a great agency. They've got
For a cleaning service, right?
Triple X.
So
They can accommodate Triple X. Yeah.
to my immediate right,
Left.
this is my left. Right?
Yeah.
You're right. That's your left.
Right, this is your list. Yep.
To my immediate left,
Ben.
I know his name that he goes by. We're just gonna call you Ben Riley. He is literally the co-founder of this group. He and I started the group back in July of 2020, and
Because he left me.
we worked together to try and build a very diverse and open group. We didn't really get launched until November. Really didn't take off until January. But these things take time. But so right now, he is my third officer and my chief engineer. Go ahead and talk about yourself.
Well, I've been here in the Vegas area a little over 2 years. Came from Texas originally.
You can
I
hear
always
it.
loved Star Trek. My mom, she raised me on it. It was like her favorite thing ever. She loves Vulcan, so that was always her thing. She just anything Star Trek, anything Vulcan was there. My dad was a Star Wars guy, which I like Star Wars. It's cool, but at the time there was only 3 movies, so it wasn't really a whole lot to go on. With Star Trek was so much, and I just like Star Trek better because it was us. It was our future. It's us. We've overcome all our stupid issues, and we're out there doing what we want to do in space, learning, and stuff like that. So I do this
Humanity
stuff
at the
here
next level.
in Vegas. So at the convention, I met Ty, and he introduced me to another club, and it's more like a dinner club, but it's really cool
Yeah.
people. And then when I first started this with David, I was like, man, this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to go out and in uniforms and make some type of impact. Hopefully good.
Give something back.
Yeah, and I've always loved nerd stuff. I mean, I've read comics all my life. I don't have a massive comic collection no more, lost in a house fire, but I'm rebuilding another one, and anything nerd I pretty much love. And these are cool guys. We have group chats and we talk all day long. I'll be working, my phone will be ding 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 ding.
Yeah, I gotta talk to you about that, man. It's like every time I turn around, I'm getting an alert, and I go, "That's that damn David again." Please.
Then I'll go back and be like 100 message. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I've kind of watched this develop a little bit. As you have been very active on the social medias and putting this thing together and trying to organize everything. And that's one of the reasons that I had contacted you and wanted to talk to you about this, because I liked what was happening. We have some mutual friends who said, hey, you need to check this out. So I really like what you're doing. I like the pulling all these people together and the concept behind it. And like I told you before, I think Gene Roddenberry would have been proud. So
Thank you.
And then who is this guy?
So, to my right, This is my second officer, my chief medical officer, Hunter Alexander Kane. People told me not to call you Hack.
I've gotten that name before, plenty of times.
There's like, we don't want the doctor to be a hack doctor. That's literally his name.
You want your computer engineer to be a hack doctor.
Yeah. But Hunter is literally part of the brains of the Windrunner. He is laser focused on us getting our name out there, us doing things. People recognizing that we are actually here in the Valley and that we are a force for good, not just a force for play.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and that's been difficult with the lockdown and the COVID and you know, getting out there. I mean, everybody used to hang out at the Millennium Fan Bar and all, you know, places like that all around, and you can't really do that now. But it's coming back, I hope. But
Yeah.
so
Well, you know,
is that so you'll be quiet? I mean, you got something to say and you just
No. I thought we were supposed to be wearing masks.
this is
No. This is we're clear in here. I've disinfected everything.
So-
and the medical officer would have been proud of my.
I did an internal scan.
There you go. Good.
We're good, right? Hunter, please introduce yourself.
I actually met David at another event at the Vegas Roots, and it was he was just wearing a comm badge. And to me, somebody who wears a comm badge in public means that there's a certain ideal about them, that Gene Roddenberry ideal of equality, of, you know, a better future for all of us and things like that. So I was just like, love the comm badge, and it started a conversation that sparked, and he's like, hey, there's a group. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I ran and joined as fast as I could. I was kind of frustrated that it took like 2 days to approve or something like that on the things.
Yeah.
I was just like, come on.
Constantly checking.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things that, you know, I'd like to do to the group is, you know, I come from a military background, being in the Army for almost a decade. On top of that, I worked for a member of Congress. On top of that, I'm doing quite a few things around the Valley. So it's like I want to do everything possible to expose, you know, as David was saying, that it's not just that we're putting on costumes and pretending that we're being attacked by Borgs, but they're seeing us in uniform, so they recognize that the uniform, anytime you see the uniform, oh, they're probably giving back to the city. Oh, they're probably helping to, rather it's helping somebody move, going on
Making the
5K
world a better
marches,
place.
going whatever the heck it needs to be. Our job is just literally to be there for our community.
Yep.
The uniform is a physical representation of that.
If I could add to that just really quickly, the reason I personally love Star Trek, right, and the reason I have so much affection for the Windrunner, my degree's in history, so I know how important agriculture is to history, and agriculture and astronomy are intrinsically related, and so I love all the other fandoms. Don't get me wrong, I do. But what Star Trek has is it builds off of real world history.
Yes.
It makes references to colonization and agriculture all the time. It makes direct references to observable real-time astronomy, right? They talk about actual mathematic formulas that get solved in our lifetimes, like Fermat's theorem, so on and so forth. So the beauty of Star Trek, is it science fiction or is it future history? Is it a little bit of both? It obviously
It's
inspires
a lot
people.
of both.
Inspires people. So, you know, when these guys get together, I grab all my books and I come running. Thanks.
Yeah. That is Star Trek. It is literally, you can learn science, you can learn history from Star Trek, and it gives you an opportunity to imagine a better future for us. And I think everyone here is really driven towards that. So, to my far right
Oh, don't
is
Yeah, he's not far right. He's more of a centrist.
to my far right is
He's the
We're
heart
going to
and
check
soul.
your voting record here.
is Christopher Summon, and let me say, he's literally my brain.
Because you don't know your left from your right.
I don't know my left from my right. When we put this group together and when we started to actually get members in, one thing I wanted to do was create a ranking system,
Right.
Where people earn points for doing certain things, like being out in uniform and attending our virtual hangouts. And keeping track of those points is difficult and frustrating, especially when we're up to like close to 100 members. but Chris does a great job at it. He lets me know, hey, this is going to be this, and we can do this, and hey, guess what? These guys just earned a promotion. Da 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 da. It's like, all right, cool. Let's, put it forth, and I can look at the spreadsheet. And I'm like, I'm tired, and Chris like, oh, I got it, Cap. He just goes in and fills it out, and I'm just like, yo, this is amazing. So he's also my sounding board for a lot of different ideas I had. I work close with everybody, but I think I spend more time with Chris, and just because he's just operations, which on a ship, everything falls. If it's not science or medical, it's literally operations.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, real quick, I literally met these guys like
Yeah.
a week apart.
It was the same story as Dr. Kane here. I mean, it was, I had a service event. I'm a member of AmeriCorps, and we had a service event over at his Urban Farm Vegas Roots Community Garden, and I noticed the same thing. His comm badge was on there, and I was like, yo, if there's anything I've been looking forward to, I've been back and forth between here and from Las Vegas and Hawaii like all my life growing up. I've been looking for that like community element, and this group has definitely helped me find it. Behind the neon aura of sin, there actually are human beings here.
Yes.
Behind
indeed.
the casinos and the tourism and hospitality industry, we are not relegated to just the glamour and prestige of the Strip. So being able to connect with my community here, finding it, and also while also being a Star Trek fan since I was in high school, which was 5 years ago, unfortunately. but being a Star Trek fan, being able to connect and share the passion with people who are just as excited about the vision that Gene Roddenberry had about bringing us to a vision of hope and equality and humanity. It's just the greatest thing ever. So I thank you guys all for incorporating
Thank you for being
me.
a part of it, dude.
High school 5 years ago, really?
Yeah. 6,
Yeah.
4.
And I think
I got
35.
socks older than that, man.
Yeah.
I think David's also being a little modest. I mean, we have the organization's grown by dozens and dozens of people as the weeks and months go.
Oh,
on.
I've been
It's
watching.
one of
I
those
see that. Yeah.
crazy things. And on
It's
top of
amazing.
that, so much so that we were kind of just laughing. I think the other time we were out there, it's like, okay, so we have this to do, and then that to do, and then this to do, and that to do, and that's just in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we will somehow get it done. So it's
Yeah.
one of those, we're all volunteer group. So it's like it's growing so fast, people are all saying, hey, we love the vision that you want to try to put forth, and what can we do to join and help out?
Well, I might want to warn you that there are 1,735,000 rabid Star Trek fans here in the Valley.
Really?
No, I just made that number
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
But there's a
only
bunch of
2
them.
Yeah.
There's 2 million people in the valley, and
I know.
half of them was Star Trek. I'm like, okay, I could see
Yeah,
that.
there's a bunch of them.
Our starship can hold how many again?
2,500. 2,500.
2,500.
So
I have the
Bring
biggest
it on.
ship in the fleet.
Well, I'm from the old fleet.
I know, right. Those Constitution classes and even that Galaxy class. Let me tell you, that Galaxy class doesn't match an Odyssey class. Mine.
So I have to ask each one of you this question: of all of the Star Trek series, which one's your favorite? Ty?
For me, I mean, it's not fair. I'm 5. I'm watching Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. I'm watching that perfect trifecta, right? So that's where it starts for me. And I love all the Treks. And what I realized with the latest thing about Discovery, right? So I love everybody, but with Discovery, Saru is working so hard to rescue Sokol, right? And I'm thinking, man, right? That's the point of Trek. Like, nobody gets left behind. We're coming for you, little man. Like, come on, come out of the holodeck. I got this. I got you, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I'm the Kelpian. Oh my God! I don't want to come out of my house, right? I don't want to leave my books. I don't want to come out. I'm in my shell, right? But if Doug Jones literally said, "Come help me," I would help Doug Jones. I would help Saru, right? Because I would never argue. I argue with everyone. I don't think I would
noticed
argue.
that.
Yes, that's true. I don't think I would argue with Doug Jones or Saru, right?
Right.
He's a great man. He's a great actor. It's a great character. it's humbling, right? And that's what keeps me in line.
I honestly believe that that he has developed that character into one of the top 3 or 4 captains.
Yes.
Indeed.
And he has, and the thing is that as an actor, his face is covered. He's in all this makeup and everything, but yet the emotions and his sincerity still comes across.
Oh, yeah.
And all he has is his voice and his, you know,
Right.
and the walk that, you know.
Yeah, he swings his arms behind him, which is very flowing and
Yeah.
almost hypnotizing.
Yeah.
But what literally keeps me going is that fellowship, brotherhood, and camaraderie from Kirk, Spock, and McCoy all the way up to Saru, right? I can think and say whatever I want, right? And then when I know I'm out of line, I think, you know, what would Kirk, Spock, and McCoy do? Or all the way up to what would, you know, like, or even Sonequa Martin Green, right? As Burnham, right? I probably would help her. I'm not sure, right? Because it just depends on the plot, right? Yeah, because there's a lot of casualties in some of her battles.
So, to the question, your
Original
favorite?
series?
I'm gonna go with TOS.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with TOS.
Okay.
Because it's first.
So you were 5 when you started watching that? How old were you when the first movie came out?
I
First one
think
come out,
10, 79 motion picture. I'm born in 68.
Yeah.
I'm 10 because my birthday's late in the year. So I'm 10.
Okay, so I went from 1967 until the 70s when that movie came out, of just watching the old reruns.
Sure.
And when that movie came out, it was like seeing old friends that you hadn't seen for years.
Right.
And so that I really dug. That was cool. And it's I think that the original series is probably my favorite, but I love all the others. But Picard's still my favorite captain.
Sure. If I have to give a shout out, then I'm giving
Please.
a shout out to the animated series. I'm giving
Lower
a shout
Decks?
out.
Lower Decks.
That one too.
I love the Lower Decks.
He won't let us do that. He will not let. He has a hard line against that Vulcan salute.
I don't,
But what I meant was
don't
the animated
think that
series.
any
was,
human, unless you're addressing a Vulcan, should be throwing up that, especially if you're claiming to be a Klingon. The word "it's a good day to die" are just as important.
Right.
As
live long and prosper. Right.
but when I'm 5 years old, circa
And
9.
you want to die.
Yes, I do. Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just like let me know where the battle is. Let's go. Right.
you bet.
But when you're 5 in '74, right? What
Yeah.
you get is you get Star Trek in syndication. You get the animated series, and you get the little action figures. Like they're about that big, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like a sweet time to be like a little tiny Trekkie. So.
Yeah.
Which, of course, your daughter, Tiny Janeway.
Janeway.
Tiny Janeway.
So your
I love
series,
it.
So sweet.
Well, I grew up, you know, with the original series. My mom, I said she loves Star Trek, and I remember they played it one time where it was all 3 seasons, and it was like over a weekend. It was like a 3-day thing. It was all
Like they did with Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it was like a marathon. So my parents had a friend that came over, and they had 2 VCRs, and they were taking turns recording it and dubbing the commercials out. And then making another copy, so we had the whole stuff.
Right.
My mom was always playing it, you know, so it was always on. And then when the Next Generation came out, I was like, oh wow, this is something new. My mom was like, I don't like that. It's not Kirk. I was like, what? I fell in love with it. So I mean, I want to say Next Generation, but I really love the characters of Voyager. Like the Doctor's my favorite. I mean, Robert
Yeah.
Picardo is just the coolest. He's my favorite Star Trek person in the whole world, Robert Picardo. So. You know, and I love Janeway and Tuvok and all the camaraderie and the fact that they were so far away from everything else that it was kind of like they were able to create new, interesting things that didn't affect what was going on, but like Deep Space Nine or any of the movies because they were a whole different quadrant. So I mean, you know, I thought that was really unique in how they could bring in Borg and certain things, but they still bring in like certain little key aspects like another Federation ship here or the Klingons.
Just to show that you're tied in. Yeah.
So. Definitely, I think Voyager's my favorite.
how about you, Chris?
Wait. Before we get to you, Chris, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, I'd like to have you beam us up to the bridge of the Windrunner. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Communicators
So,
right
hey guys, we're gonna take a short break, pay some bills, and then we'll be right back. I promise.
Imagine if you could save animals and money just by shopping. Well, at Hearts Alive Village, you can. Yep, that's right. Our prices cannot be beaten, and as a 501c3 animal rescue, you don't pay any sales tax. You'll also be helping so many animals begin their new lives. So next time you're looking for that special outfit, or just your everyday pet supplies, come visit our friendly store manager at Hearts Alive Village. And we thank you, because the more you do this, the more we can do this. And you never know, while you're here, you might just fall in love. Hey Daisy, we're still filming. That's better. Hearts Alive Village Adoption Center. Find us on Rainbow and Oakey.
All right, welcome back. We're going to now take a trip up to the Windrunner. Before we do that, tell me a little bit about the Windrunner. What the hell is it?
It is an Odyssey-class starship. It is the largest ship that Starfleet has ever built.
Okay.
It is literally a mobile space station.
Where does it fit in the entire Star Trek universe?
So, if you've ever watched Star Trek Picard, it takes place, or the Windrunner was built in the 2380s.
Okay.
Before the explosion of the Romulan sun. So before the attack on the shipyards. So we got out.
Okay.
But there are literally 5 Odyssey-class starships in Starfleet, and the Windrunner is one of them.
I think Kai wants to say something.
To add to that, if people are wondering what an Odyssey-class starship is, Star Trek Online, so Enterprise D, Galaxy class,
Right.
Enterprise F, Odyssey class. So if you play Star Trek Online, which is a huge community,
Right.
And you get that ship, the Odyssey class is based off the USS Enterprise F. So we are a sister ship to the Enterprise F,
Yes.
comparable to Star Trek Online.
The Enterprise F is one of the
Okay,
5.
cool. Why don't you take us up there?
Allie, 6 to beam up, please.
This is pretty fucking cool.
This is a beautiful ship, let me tell you.
So this is your ship.
This is my ship.
You are the captain.
Yeah, man, I have to handle this. She's a big girl.
Yeah.
This ship is so big, I have another ship literally in our cargo bay. We have a scout ship that has to be manned as well. So whenever we're out on missions and if things get hairy, I have an escort vessel that my first officer captains.
Does that happen often?
Not often enough. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. We're working on staffing her right now.
I've noticed that. Yeah, that's you're doing a lot of recruiting out there.
Yes, I am trying to recruit. I need staff because you got to carry. Most ships, their chief of security act as their tactical officer.
Right.
Our ship, our chief of security literally is a sheriff. We have 2 tactical officers because we have on our bridge, you can see, we have 2 tactical stations. So one person can't operate just the phaser banks and the torpedo bay. I need 2 people to do that.
And as one of the newer crew members, I was assigned a job, a duty.
Stellar cartography, yes, sir.
And I think it's appropriate because I can take pictures of stars.
Well, it's funny because your position on the bridge is literally under the bridge in the forward position. So
yeah, I can't wait to get down there and see my office, right?
It's really cool because.
So do I get to shoot in 4K or 8K or do we have like
12K
now?
12K. Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you, everything's like you can see the dust in space.
Cool. And so I'm sorry, it's time to get back to Chris, and you're going to tell us about what's your favorite?
So way back in 2014, I was
when you were in high school.
Yes, sir. I was binge watching. Netflix had all of them available. They had TOS, they had TNG, They had Deep Space Nine, Voyager, all of them, the whole works.
And Enterprise.
And Enterprise. I started off, I tried to do it chronologically correct. I watched Enterprise first at the time, right? And then that one was like super exciting to me. Then that, you know, platformed me into the other ones. But long story short, TNG, because the leadership qualities and the, you know, the very intellectual way of explaining, you know, just principles and values were just so attractive. You know, even just from the most basic thing of Picard defending an android's right to live. I'm a big follower of the android storyline, and I think that it's, you know, a shame that they're banned. You know, now.
Well, they're not banned yet.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Not in our timeline.
I didn't.
Spoiler alert.
They're not banned yet.
I forgot. We're about 20
It's
years
coming.
before.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
gosh, I'm so
Right,
sorry.
right.
Spoiler alert.
All right, Hunter, your favorite series?
Like Ty and Ben, I grew up on it. So my mom, I was born in the 80s, and she would always rewatch them. And my most fondest memories of my mom's is laying on top of her back while we're watching Star Trek together. And I kind of grew up in there. And then Next Generation came out, loved it. Weird enough, I loved Data. He was always Brent Spiner has always been one of my favorite ones. And then loved Voyager and loved all these different ones. But my favorite would have to be DS9. It's the very first time I saw someone who looked like me.
Yeah, Cisco.
In charge of the station. And then if you ever get a
Cisco,
chance...
right?
Cisco,
Not
yeah,
Odo?
no.
Benjamin, Lafayette, Cisco.
And then I love the relationship between Cisco and his son. It kind of reminds me of mine. It's very close. It's very loving. And there's almost, you know, I'm not a deeply religious person, but there's definitely spiritual vibes to the way he believed. Not just being the emissary, but the way the whole show moved was just a different vibe that I absolutely love. So DS9 for me.
Cool.
I think the best episode that they did so many, Far Beyond the Stars.
Yes.
Where he's Benny Russell. That is a work of art.
That's the only episode I've only seen twice. I've seen all the other ones maybe 30, 40 times. Because to me, it's literally, I have a hard time not crying.
Right, right.
I refuse to watch it now because I'm just like, no, I don't want to cry.
It brings too much. It brings
really does, especially
too much.
as a black man.
Yes,
It's way too much. Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
But the other one on Cisco, By the Pale Moonlight.
Another great one.
Yeah.
I did my monologue for an acting gig I did based off of his end speech. Love it.
Cool.
That's a good speech. That's a good speech.
Like all of these guys, I grew up on Star Trek. I fondly watched the original series, but when the Next Generation aired, it just took me to another place, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. And I loved it, and I still do. One thing I say, I don't nerd discriminate. So it's really hard for me to like say, yeah, I like this one better, but
Not even for Enterprise?
I love Enterprise.
I love Enterprise.
Me too.
Yeah.
I wish it would have had
I tolerated Enterprise.
Oh wow, that's deep.
I loved it.
Time to go.
But it was...
There's the hill. There's the hill. There's the hill.
No.
There's the hill.
I appreciated what they were trying to do, but it wasn't one of my favorites. I mean, it would. I loved it, but it was at the bottom of the list.
You know the best part
For me.
about Enterprise, right?
The dog,
That Porthos is
Porthos.
pretty good.
T'Pol,
She's very attractive.
Yeah.
Sophia.
I don't know that one. The thing about
She's a T'Pol cosplayer in the Soviet Union. In
oh
Russia.
yeah, I met her.
Russia, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
she came to the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about Enterprise, that's the first time, because now I'm raised on Star Trek from start to go, right?
Right.
So I'm 5 years older than Will Wheaton, right? I, the same age, Nog, Aaron Eisberg, is a year younger than me, right? So when I see Nog, I'm like, yay, I'm old enough, right? I am the same age as Harry Kim in 7 of 9, right? We're both born in 68. When I see Tom Paris, either as Nick Locarno or Robert Duncan McNeil, I'm like, I understand that. My father was a colonel in the Air Force, right? By the time we get to Enterprise, I'm like, holy crap, I'm Trip, right? By the time we get up to Discovery, right, I'm older than Pike. Sad face. I'm older than Pike. He's born in 73, right?
So you age backwards?
Yeah, that would be nice. But when Enterprise, right, now all of a sudden, you know, I'm watching this the early 2000s, right? I'm like, holy crap, I should, you know, when you see Star Trek and you see these actors, you know, whether it's the character or the actor, you're kind of vicariously living with them. And I think
you identify with different actors in different series and
the actors, I think
we all do.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
And I think that's one of the beauties of Star Trek is that we can identify with characters in each of the series, right? We really see ourselves in these roles. Hence some of these uniforms. Even like what Hunter was saying, like with DS9, that became my favorite Trek series because it was a time in my life my parents were divorcing. My father had moved to Texas, and I saw this black man loving his son and being there with his son, and then it was one of the first times outside of a sitcom that you had an all-black scene, or a scene with all black actors.
Right.
And that wasn't seen even in the 90s. We thought, oh, we're, you know, progressed so much, blah, blah, blah. But you never saw just a scene with just nothing but black actors there, right? So the relationship that Sisko had with Cassidy Yates, and then how she accepted his son, and how everything was blending together and it was making a family. I was like, wow, I was living vicariously through those episodes. And like Hunter, it's like Far Beyond the Stars. That is a reality that is still today.
Yeah.
And it was filmed, what, 30 years?
30-something years ago, yeah.
30 years ago? Not 30-something, not quite. Just a little shy of 30. But
well, that's 30-something.
just a little shy of 30. So it's 20-something.
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 And a lot.
And yeah, a lot,
Still,
right?
Honest,
But you have that that moment where you realize this show was parroting something in history in the early 50s, 60s that relates to today. You know,
21 today even. Yeah.
22, yes.
Right.
And that was just so empowering because they didn't shy away from that.
Right.
And a lot of times, a lot of shows would shy away from that part of American history.
Well, the entire Star Trek series took risks all the time.
Yes.
Constantly.
Well, it's credited for the first interracial kiss.
As early as
Yes.
TOS.
I think it's
Wait, dude. I lived through that.
He was controversial as everybody is saying it is.
It was for everyone but Star Trek fans.
Really?
I mean, it was that controversial. It was the first time.
It wasn't even that.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was.
No. But it was.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Yeah, Ty's trying to get in here. What do you need?
1998, February 9th, Far Beyond the Stars. So 23 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
I think DSI
Google's our
is
friend.
with one of the first like 3 lesbian kisses between Dax and like one of the different ones in there too.
Yes,
That's kind of
yes,
broke the
yes.
internet again.
Well, they're always like breaking barriers and
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's
doing what needs to be done.
what it is that if these elements exist in our culture today, and they're fringed, they're out on the edges. What Star Trek does or wants to do is to normalize those things that people think are so far out, right? Even those.
But that's sci-fi in itself.
That's sci-fi in itself.
The things that you can, by putting a situation 100 years in the future, you can really take a look at it and get people to pay attention, as opposed to doing it today.
Right now, right.
And get it more accepted.
I always say that sci-fi is literally science fiction is the driver for science reality, and everything that we believe to be our technological advances Star Trek.
Dude, the
yes.
phones, the iPads,
Yes,
everything,
yes,
the
yes.
flip phones,
It
all
was
that shit.
all
When the
Star
flip phone
Trek.
came out, it was like, yeah, this is so fucking cool.
Yes.
Steve Jobs even credited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roddenberry for quite a few
Yes,
different things.
yes. And it's like these were things that were imagined and now becomes our reality. And now they're talking about, warp speed is possible. We can actually create a bubble and fold space, and we can move forward. It's like, okay. 60 years ago, they was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But
Well,
you
we're
literally,
talking about like with the Artemis, putting basically rotating, going around the moon, so we can go
right,
to Mars.
just to go to Mars.
Yeah.
We're go ahead.
1968, November 22nd, Plato's Stepchildren is the kissing scene that you're talking about between Nichelle
Yeah.
Nichols and William Shatner. And they filmed it 2 different ways, right? They filmed it with and without. And they really had to fight over it at the industry, right? And a lot of people don't know, everybody should know, Lucille Ball
Yep.
was making Star Trek happen.
Desilu
Yeah.
Productions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they had to fight for that.
Because she threatened to pull her shows and her stuff if they did not air Star Trek
Yes?
initially.
Yeah, so
I
November
didn't realize that
22nd,
either.
You didn't know that?
1968,
Oh
Plato's
yeah.
Stepchildren.
She was a
deal.
huge
Yeah,
proponent,
Lucille Ball.
a huge
Yeah,
supporter
if you
of
see
Star
all the
Trek.
memes,
Yeah,
Because
right.
I have
They
a
couldn't
meme,
they
yeah,
couldn't
right
sell
now.
it. The networks weren't buying it, and
Eventually.
she told them, Desilu Productions. She said, "I'm pulling all my stuff unless you guys do this."
She was a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she was. I mean, she was. Half of their fucking
So
programming
when you
was
go
stupid,
on
stupid.
when you go on the internet and you see the memes of Lucille Ball, right? It's Admiral Ball, right?
Yeah.
And a variety of outfits. A lot of
Yeah.
people are, why is Lucy dressed up as a Starfleet admiral? Desilu Productions.
Yeah.
That
She
like
fought.
she's the patron saint of Star Trek.
We
Right.
wouldn't be here without her.
Yep.
Exactly.
I
So
agree.
there's that.
Well, and I want to say too, we've talked a lot about Star Trek, but the show is going to be about all things sci-fi.
Sci-fi, right.
And any Doctor Who fans here?
I heard
Right
the
there?
ringtone, and I was just like, oh,
Tom Baker.
quiet your tortoise.
Tom Baker was actually my first Doctor Who.
BBC.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
BBC on the
dating
PBS.
yourself.
I know, dude. And I was gonna wear it today. I've got the scarf, and normally I will wear the scarf with my comm badge.
PBS at the time was airing BBC shows, right?
Yes.
So it's Penelope Keith and The Good Life. It's Benny Hill, Monty Python, whatnot, right? That mid-'70s stuff. So mid-'70s Doctor is Tom Baker.
Right.
So America meets Doctor Who through PBS, through BBC, circa the late '70s.
And then
almost.
went back and then
Yeah.
I mean it died for a while, and then
Tom your
Christopher
favorite?
Eccleston comes back and
2005
Tom your
versus.
favorite?
Who's
your favorite Doctor?
It's tough.
There's only one.
I can only
He's
choose
such
one.
a doctor.
There's only one. Yes, and there's only one real doctor.
Don't tell me, David Tennant.
David Tennant.
What are you, a fangirl?
I'm all number
That's what
10.
all the fangirls say.
No, that's what
whatever.
they said
No,
about
no,
Matt
no,
Smith.
seriously.
So
Matt
how about-
Smith,
how about
Peter
Matt Smith?
Capaldi?
Yeah.
you
Like
seen
you're just
Good
gonna
Omens?
like you're not
Yeah.
even gonna
And
consider.
actually, I only watched Good Omens because David was in it.
Right.
Literally.
So
I
Matt
wasn't even
Smith,
worried about it.
Peter Capaldi,
I've never
the
seen
new girl.
Doctor Who.
I
Right,
love
Jodie
Peter
Whittaker.
Capaldi.
Just left.
No,
Peter
like,
Capaldi
just-
is brilliant. I
just
love
leave.
him.
I think
Yeah.
she's leaving.
He does. He did another show.
Yeah. In the thick of it.
Pardon me.
In the thick of it.
That's
Where
it.
he's Scottish.
Malcolm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think there were
Just
some-
motherfucker. Just fuck the fuck.
You should
I
hear
love.
about-
He's
What's that
great.
show with the hairdresser and the little teddy bears? He's talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the one with the cowboy and the talking dog.
Yeah.
There were some episodes that
Yeah.
I think only Matt could have done. Like I can't remember the.
He got the best scripts.
Yeah, the one where he's speaking to the giant planet.
Okay, but
I don't think
you
David can pull that
cannot
off.
you cannot discount Christopher Eccleston because
No,
he
absolutely not.
literally brought Doctor Who back.
Back, yes. In
Well,
fact,
what
he brought
about
me to the franchise.
you guys?
He
Are,
brought
okay,
me
so
to
the last
franchise.
Doctor Who was 1989, and that was the 7th Doctor, right? And I'm spacing on his name, and I shouldn't have. I mean, he's Radagast, right? Plays Radagast. Then there was that little movie in '96,
Which
and,
they count, but
and then of course
And then 9 was
2005,
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston, right? But then where do you want to throw the War Doctor? 50th anniversary,
John
John
Hurt.
Hurt.
Yeah, that was
John doesn't make the top 5.
beautifully
He
done.
doesn't even make
That
his
was
top
Okay, but did you not
done.
appreciate it at least?
Yeah.
Did you not?
Time flies when
Like,
you're
what
having
is
fun,
wrong
huh?
with you two, right? He's like, when John Hurt is literally, because here's a guy that's in 1984, he's an alien, right? He is bread and butter actor, bread and butter science fiction, and he is heckling 10 and 11, right? Like, come on, that's got to be
Remind me
worth
of
something
the-
to
That,
you.
yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was.
What's the name of the 12th? What's his name again?
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi, yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if David Moffat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are familiar with the previous BBC series that he wrote called Coupling.
No. No, I'm not familiar with the series. I know he did it because I read the liner notes, but no.
It
did
is
Tintin.
brilliant.
He did the Adventures of Tintin.
If go find it. I think
Okay.
you can find it on Amazon Prime. I think, but it's called Coupling. It is the British version, and this really demeans it by saying this. It's the British version of Friends with class and degradation and the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen on TV.
Wow. It's
It
called
is,
Coupling?
it is Coupling.
Okay.
And it's about three couples and their interactions, and it is autobiographical about David Moffat and Sue Vertu, who is a producer there. And it basically is about their experience of when they met and their friends, and it just very loosely based. And there's a character, his name is Jeff, and he's from Northern England, and he is the beginning, the first episode, the first scene is him and Steve, and it's Stephen Moffat, it's not David Moffat, I'm sorry. They're talking, and Steve says to him, and this from a guy who has 47 words for breasts. And so about 3 episodes later, they're talking again, and Steve says to him again, and this from a guy who has 163 words for breasts. And this goes on through the 4 seasons. It's every once in a while they slip in this little scene, and he is he's brilliant. He's a brilliant actor. You'll enjoy it.
You mentioned 2 things. You mentioned sci-fi and Amazon. So I'm wondering where this panel lands on The Expanse. Anybody? No? Just
On The Expanse? I love
Yeah.
The Expanse.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just starting the
Dude,
series.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
And that's why.
So
and
Earth,
this is
Mars, or OPA? Because I already know who I'm with.
OPA.
Yeah, okay. Earth, Mars, or OPA there, Hunter?
I'm with Madam Secretary.
Oh, Earth! Oh, look at you. Hey, she's amazing. And she's in the Abrams, she's in Star Trek Beyond. That actress, I should be able to say her name, and I shouldn't, amazing
I don't remember
actress.
her name either, yeah.
But as Christian Arjajala, she got into the next Star Trek Beyond as the, in charge of Starbase Yorktown, because she has a scene with Chris Pine as Kirk. But, okay, OPA, have you seen Expanse?
No. When you say
Wait,
Madam
you haven't seen The
Secretary,
Expanse?
Oh, yeah.
David, where
Yeah.
you
You haven't
at?
seen The
I
Expanse?
haven't. I have to.
Get out!
Have
What
you
did you
seen
bring
The
this guy
Expanse?
for?
I'm just starting the
I'm just
series.
now.
Okay, OPA or
Okay.
Earth or Mars?
Well, good. Now you got 3 or 4 seasons to
So
watch.
Earth?
The
Got
binge.
homework.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I've been so spoiled with all these series lately that the only thing I don't like about The Expanse is that I have to wait to watch the next episode.
Sure.
So it's just like, put them all out.
Well, they have.
Fix right now.
Man,
Oh,
there's 4
yeah,
seasons.
that-
But they do
that-
like one
5.
episode every week or
Wait a
something
minute,
like that, and I hate
that-
that.
5.
That's that whole
Oh, that's right, 5, yeah.
Netflix spoiled you thing.
Yes,
By
it did.
just
I'm so spoiled,
throwing
like-
everything out, and now you have to, when you have to wait.
Wait
Yeah,
all
big
week.
withdrawals.
It's like-
Withdrawal
year and a half
syndrome.
ago. Like, oh,
Yeah, right? I'm like, what the hell? Don't give me everything at once and then start releasing things like Disney does that.
And they only give you like 10 episodes, but give them
I'm
about
like,
10.
Wait.
You made me wait for
Raised
10.
by
Full
wolves.
of sugar.
I don't want to fight about Ridley Scott. I don't. I haven't given it a chance yet.
Okay.
I'm so 50-50 on Ridley Scott, right? Because I cannot deny his earlier work. I don't know what happened, right? I don't know where he's at, right? So I don't know what I'm looking at.
Dude, the meds wore off.
The
Okay,
meds
all right.
wore off.
Look,
The
guys,
meds wore off.
That's a hell of a statement.
Like, I'm 100% on Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
Like, at 1982 Blade Runner, I like the original one with the narration. I believe Deckard's not a replicant, but I don't care.
Right.
We don't need to fight it out. I have no problem with Dennis Villeneuve, his version of Blade Runner. I'm sure he'll do a great job with Dune, right?
God, I hope so.
But when you take
I've read
yeah.
all of the Dune series.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just, you know, that's
when you
my
have Oscar
that's my
Isaac,
hill.
yeah.
Was the original movie? It's just like fuck you.
So the new Dune movie is going to be great, I'm sure, right?
Sure?
I like the, yeah. I'll take that bet. Yeah, I'll put money down right now.
You think
yeah.
the new Blade Runner that they're coming out with is going to be good?
I'm not too
It's a
early to
gamble.
say. Too early to say.
You know what I want?
What?
I want them to stop remaking old shit and just make new shit.
Yeah.
They're scared to do it. They are scared to do it. And this is like I
Next
get
thing you
super-
know, it's like Yor is going to come back.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
that movie?
But here's what happens.
Yor. Y-O-R.
No,
I don't think so. I
It's
don't.
like this whole barbarian.
that's
thing.
gore.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's not your. It's gore.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
How about
Yeah.
how about OA?
OA.
I love the first.
Did you see OA?
Yeah,
Was that awesome or what?
it really was.
What's that on?
Have you seen the whole series?
Netflix.
I've not. No, I've only
Oh,
seen
you
the
haven't
first season.
Oh,
And I
fuck.
loved it. So I'm right at the scene where they're doing the dance in school and she gets shot and the ambulance takes away.
Where are we landing
Oh,
on?
haven't seen
dude, you haven't
what
even
happens
gotten
after.
into it yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
Where are we landing on Altered
just-
Carbon?
and the
I ain't even heard of that.
just watch it.
The
All right.
OA is another good
Yeah.
series to watch.
So Netflix, since we're over there for half a second, they've
Sorry.
got Love, Death, and Robots. I thought that was a brilliant miniseries.
Okay, never saw that one.
Okay, that's totally worth it. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for everybody that loved heavy metal back in '81, right? Love, Death, and Robots gets the job done,
It's
right?
an anthology.
I have.
Wait. Are you talking about the movie Heavy Metal?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm born and raised on
Taking
that.
a ride?
Absolutely, Don Felder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
I'm here all day.
Don't forget to tip your waitress. Yeah.
2 drink minimum.
Yeah.
The second part is that they have Altered Carbon. I hear it gets a lot of people are talking about Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
People are talking about Westworld.
I don't. For
Westworld's
some
good.
reason, I can't get into
Westworld
that.
blew my mind.
Westworld's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen that.
I don't know.
There's a
why.
friend I have to give a shout out to. She loves The 100.
The 100's
Awesome.
good.
The 100's good.
I love the 100.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Where
it.
are we landing on The 100? Right, it just
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
you know,
so
I'm-
three.
it's just
three-
like-
I'll
Oh,
take
great.
myself out of the vote.
I mean,
So 3
it's-
versus 2.
I'm just like,
So you know what Ricky went on to do from The 100? American Gods. Anybody? Neil Gaiman.
I love.
American
I am
Gods is
trying
awesome.
to get into that now.
Okay.
That one's good.
But
Well,
I
you
just-
mentioned
a
Good
hun-
Omens.
100
So if we
just
got Neil
doesn't-
Gaiman on the
Oh,
board,
yeah,
we get
listen.
American Gods.
You know what the 100 reminds me of? It reminds
Sci-fi
me-
dystopia.
It reminds me of the 4400. Do you
Sure.
remember?
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that came out for a minute.
Okay, how about anything by Terry Pratchett?
How about Everything by Terry Pratchett?
All right.
How
Have you
about
se-
Discworld?
Wait. Postal?
I have not seen that one.
Going Postal? You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh,
where,
geez, you gotta-
where would I? What's it? Where?
Where can you find it?
Yeah.
It'll either be on Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, and I can't remember.
Well, I'll go find it.
where.
Well,
And if you can't find it, let me know. I've got it on DVD.
Wow, you have a DVD
So the
player?
reason I would bring it. Yes, we have DVD players
DVD
still.
player.
Dude, I'm fucking old, right?
The whole wall of DVDs.
The thing about Star
I'm sorry.
Trek.
It is a Blu-ray. Does that help?
No.
One step closer to the
The reason I
future.
still think Star Trek is the reigning champion. Star Trek's the reigning champion. It might
What are
be
we looking at?
misunderstood. It might get put on a shelf. It might get this variation you like, this variation you don't. There's a lot of controversy with it. Sometimes
yeah.
it's artificial, sometimes it's organic.
remember now.
But Star Trek, the thing you believe in, the com badge that when I met you, and like, here's a guy, I literally met him in a Spider-Man hoodie with his com badge. I'm like, that's some commitment, right? Like, I'm a closet nerd compared to him, right? Like,
a
there's nowhere I'm
transporter
wearing a
accident.
Spidey hoodie and a freaking com badge, right? Like, I want girls to talk to me, but he has a hot wife, so he's fine, right? He's got a hot wife, so he's fine. He's got 3 beautiful daughters, so he's fine, right? So I'm like, okay, so yeah, so you can get away with that, because you already have 4 women signing off on you that think you're awesome. But for the rest of us nerds, we are not wearing our freaking hoodies with our com badges. And then he started wearing his com badge and wearing op colors wherever he went. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like,
I've been wearing my com badge since I've always had Star Trek shirts, right? Just the regular shirts with the badges print on it. But once Discovery came out and they released those badges,
sure.
I bought them, and there was only $15 at the time, right? So whenever someone would like see my badge, like, "Oh, you like Star Trek?" I was like, "Yeah." I would give it to them. Just a kindness gesture.
Oh, you did.
right?
I have a badge because of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And
What?
you loaned
Huh?
me the heck.
Whoa, whoa, you didn't get. Oh,
So,
Dude, I put you on CD and I didn't get shit.
So this is back in Ranch when I lived in California, Rancho Cucamonga, like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Those same badges now that were $15 are now $40.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why you guys.
yeah.
And I wanted to thank you the
That's
other
why I
day.
didn't just like take mine off. It was like I was trying to buy new ones, and I saw the price had jumped up, and I was like, "What the hell?"
When
So I
get my
went to like.
refund, we're getting that 3D
Yep.
printer. We're going to be
Yes.
printing us some.
Yes, we're going.
Stand up.
Look, we need to be printing our badges. We need to be doing. We need to be doing our pips.
We're going to be.
Yes, we need to be doing all of that for ourselves. That way, we can also side hustle. Because we will be servicing a community who's
That's
going
right.
to be wanting those items.
It's okay to ask as long as you give back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I wanted to thank you the other day for loaning me your tunic.
shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great shot. I don't have a shirt yet, right? And he was kind enough to loan me, so I got this great photo because he loaned
He
me a
literally
shirt.
gave him the shirt off his
his
back.
back.
Literally. I'm indebted to you, so thank you,
Good
sir.
Good job, Doc.
That is not a problem. Yeah.
So, this group, we don't always agree.
I noticed that earlier.
But can I tell you,
Please.
there is no better family than these random people who come together, who believe in Star Trek, and who literally will give the shirt off their back to help someone else. And only thing we're asking people to do when they join us and we help you, pay it forward.
Yes.
And it's that little bit of giving back that helps rebuild humanity. I saw the movie Pay It Forward,
Yeah, I love that movie.
and
yeah.
I take it to heart. I believe in random acts of kindness, and if I can get 3 people, if I can perform 3 random acts of kindness to 3 individuals, and they can do the same thing to 3 other individuals, and it grows, I actually believe in that tree, because that's how we rebuild ourselves from being the selfish, greedy Americans that we portray ourselves or that the world thinks of us. And we can literally change that image by just giving back just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. I'm not asking you to give up your car. I'm not asking you to, buy a house for somebody. But literally, man, here's a
Hey,
badge.
you never know when $5 can really make a difference in somebody's life.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and it's yeah. Go ahead.
$5. No.
It was like,
No, that
Yeah.
that was for me, dude.
Oh, it's going. Okay. All right. Well, you have this amazing studio, so.
Yes, I do.
yeah.
And this is because of a lot of people have helped me along the way, and it's everything that you see here, everything that I do here has been self-taught.
Amazing.
Thank God for the internet and YouTube
Yes.
and finding out, okay, well, how do I do this?
I learned how to make fertilizer on YouTube.
There you go. Oh, that reminds me. You sell chicken shit, don't you?
I do sell chicken shit. I sell the
And
best
worm
chicken
juice.
shit. And it's chicken juice, worm tea, banana
worm tea.
water, and I'm working on an NPK fertilizer.
Cool. And I'm sorry, but we kind of got off track. Well, no, we were on track. On track.
On track, but
but I
off track.
did want to talk a little bit about what you're doing there agriculturally, and I'd like you to let people know what's that all about. What are you doing?
All right, so I don't wear my uniform to work, but I do wear my badge and my pips. You can find me at Vegas Roots Community Garden and Farm. We are a community-based garden and farm in the heart of Las Vegas. We're off of Tonopah and Bonanza.
What does that mean?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, thank you.
So
I'm glad I asked.
no one is doing what we're doing in between Vegas proper and downtown. We're literally growing food for the community. We teach people how to garden in our community garden portion. They can come in and buy plots, and they can try and grow their own food. We're there to assist them. And then in our farm portion, we are growing food for the community. People can come out and buy fresh vegetables. We strongly believe in farm to table. We're fighting against food insecurity. It's I can't stress enough the importance of just eating. You don't have to necessarily eat properly, but just eat. There was a homeless guy who came to the garden, and he asked me could he volunteer. And I said, sure, you can come in and volunteer. So he was one of my best volunteers. He worked the whole time through, didn't take a break. The end of the day, I told him I was closing up, and I got some vegetables for him, and he was like, you know what, I really appreciate the food, but what I really want is a place to just shower. And I was like, you know what, we don't have a working shower, but I have a bathroom. You can wash your bits in there. I have no problem doing that. So he came back the next day, and he worked, and he just asked, could he wash up? No problem. So he came back like 3 days in a row, and then he disappeared. But it's moments like that that just lets me know that what I'm doing, the fact that I have this open area where people can come in and volunteer and give their time is tremendous. It really restored my faith in humanity. I said I used to give like my comm badges away just as a random act of kindness. People literally come in and they're giving their time. This is the one commodity that can never be
Most
replaced.
valuable.
And people come in and they volunteer their time to help me, help our garden, help the farm, help our chickens, and they don't want anything in return. They just like, we're here to do some work. We heard you need some volunteers. I had a greenhouse. It's raining outside. Yeah, it is.
Is it rain?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's air
I
or rain.
had a greenhouse that was really dilapidated. And I had a couple ideas on how to fix it. No one was like willing to really do it. But then the volunteers like, yeah, I can come and do that. This lady and her sons and her daughters came and they fixed it, and then the wind came and ripped it apart. But then this other guy came and was like, yeah, I can fix it. So I didn't know he actually owned a company. He brought some of his employees to come and literally fix this greenhouse for me. And he was like, yeah, I just want you to continue growing, continue doing what you're doing. I was like, man, this is so amazing. So it opened up my heart and really opened up my soul just to see people selflessly just give of themselves, you know, not asking anything in return. And then still like, here, we want to buy some stuff. I was like, you just worked like 4 or 5 hours. You don't have to buy anything. I'll give it to you. He's like, no. We still want to buy it. So I was like, that's a really great thing. And one thing I specialize in is I make soil and fertilizer. I make soil out of what we call our seasonal transitions, things we pull up from the farm or the garden. Once they matured and it's time to change over for the season,
Right.
we'll put them out on a pallet, let them dry out. We take our chicken manure. Literally, I have a bin. I don't know how big it is, but it's about 2 feet deep of chicken manure. But then we take food scraps and we chop that into the chicken manure. That's my nitrogen. Then we take tree leaves, branches, wood ash, paper ash. I accept paper products, paper plates, cups, cardboard. We'll burn those, use the ash, dump that into our carbon source. Then we mix it all together, and then we put it into these composting bins, and I top it off with some liquid fertilizer, and it will break all the materials down, and then in a couple of weeks, months, that material will become soil that you can regrow food in. And it's an amazing process.
And it's self-sustaining.
It's very self-sustaining. So just consider this. In America, we waste 1.6 trillion tons of food annually. We throw that into these landfills. They create greenhouse gases and these carbon emissions, right? In Las Vegas represents 48% of all the food waste in America. That's almost half the food waste in America. If we can reduce that by 10% and take that 10% and change it into soil, we can start repaving this whole desert landscape into an area to actually grow food. Think about that. Just because we're in a desert doesn't mean we have to live in a food desert.
Exactly. So
I'm gonna
where,
get off my
where
horse.
can people go? Where are you physically located if they wanted to come out and?
715 North Tonopah, 89106, Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's a great place, free admission, come in, have
Online?
lunch.
They can find you online?
Online, you can find us at vegasroots.org.
I wanted to add a couple things to that. The thing I love about Vegas Roots, I love two things. I got a chance.
I'm one of them, right?
Yeah. I got a chance to teach a class there talking
Yes.
about the equinox and astronomy
Right.
and agriculture, how astronomy and agriculture. So it's a great place to have a voice or a platform, right? Like and people actually care for a minute about history, astronomy, and agriculture, right? That was
Yes.
a great
Yes.
feeling.
Yes.
The second thing is it's a great space to make things happen. And there's these. He's not telling you because he's being modest and shy. We have these little bricks. Like if you don't have time, there's a little brick. Paint something on it. Sponsor us, right?
Yeah.
Some of the other people have painted some stuff on the walls, right? So when people don't necessarily have their time, right, but they still believe in the idea, right?
Right.
They believe in the
Right,
idea.
right.
So it's not just agriculture. It's not just the community. It's also the idea. It's also a voice. It's also a platform where people can meet. And here's where he's being super modest, right? So when I first met him, right, and he's like, "Hey, do you know how the Vegas Valley water works?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Right, so we went up to Mount Charleston, right, and then we went over to the springs over by Red Rock and Spring Mountain Ranch, and then we Springs Preserve, and we went out to Duck Creek, where the Las Vegas, wetlands is.
Right.
Then we went out to Lake Las Vegas, right, and he's got this. I say crazy because I'm not smart enough to understand it, right? But I'm smart enough to understand that it's good crazy. Right? He's got this idea about we could literally transform Vegas Valley, with tree lines capturing water, and so he's got this amazing vision.
Here's the idea.
You know that we're sitting on an aquifer here.
Yes,
Yes.
That
I
there's
do.
a shitload
Yes.
of water underneath us.
Thusly the
it
Springs
runs
Preserve.
underneath
Yep.
Yeah.
the city, which designed. But what he's talking about is I have, outside of making soil, when I got to the valley, I didn't really know how Vegas worked in. When I actually came in and lived here, I looked around and saw a 360-degree mountain range. And I didn't realize that literally Vegas is in a bowl.
Right.
And what those mountain ranges are doing is they're locking in all of the carbon emission and the CO2 gases. So we live in a carbon bubble, right? So
Like the LA Basin.
like the LA basin, right? But LA has
A little more outlets.
a lot more outlets, right? So everything is enclosed in here. And I can sit out and I can watch the west and I can see a storm system move in and I'll see it go around the mountains or I can see it go over the city, right? And we'll get precipitation, but by the time it falls to the ground or by the time it hits the ground, it's dried up, right? And then I started thinking one day I actually saw fog develop in our farm. And I was like, I never seen fog in Vegas. But it's like during the summer, the sun is going down, the water was just, the sprinklers have just gone off, and there was moisture and humidity in the air. And so I just saw this fog bank develop. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, right? So then I started to think, well, we could literally get that going all over Las Vegas. So my first thought was, and my first plan of action would be to create something called polypermaculture hydroponic microforest, which is taking these oddly cut parcels of land and packing them filled with trees and plants, both imports and native, and then maintaining them with an above ground water tank and just water them sporadically. You only have to fill the tank maybe once every 3 to 4 months, or like, let's say once a quarter. And doing that, right, creating this microforest, you will, at the very least, if you do this all over Las Vegas, at the very least, you will clean the air. At the very most, we will start breaking down our carbon bubble. The second phase of this would be to literally plant a tree line 50 yards wide all around the Vegas Valley. Yeah, I know we won't be able to get all around 100% like a tree line, but we can do it in areas and blocks, and we can make this forest. And what that forest is going to do is going to eat away at the carbon bubble at the foothills. So when clouds and storm systems move in, they will, instead of going up and over or around, they will come down and move into the city, which will give us more water, which will actually pay for well, I won't say pay for, but it will generate the water that we used in it originally to create the microforests. So we can literally terraform Vegas, which is a Star Trek term, if we just considered planting more trees and composting soil.
And it's funny because the powers that be want you to go the other direction. Get rid of your lawns, get rid of your landscaping, do the zero res shit.
Well, that's because no one has really presented them with a serious plan to generate water. We have.
Excuse me, but they just did.
Did they?
Yes.
Let's talk about you.
Right here.
Oh.
Let's
Well,
talk
if you
about
leave it
you.
up to our elected officials, and I'm not going to say who and mention their names, but they're literally planning on drilling down to get the water. And they're like, oh, well, we have all this water down below us. Cool, we'll just remove it that way. Who cares what it does to the environment or anything
Yeah,
else?
see, that's where this is where my history degree kicks in, right? This is where I start losing my mind. This is not a hill I want to die on, but I might.
He said, but I might. I love it.
What people don't understand about Las Vegas, right, historically, and for anybody that's lived here, is like, okay, first of all, you couldn't live here 120 years ago. That's not happening, right? Like, it was just unsustainable. Mormon forts, Paiute Indians, all of them, they all gave it a try. All the explorers came through, right? The interesting thing about the Springs Preserve is that's where there was this bubbling artesian spring 120 years ago, right? That's how it got its name, right? Which talks about the valley and how it all comes in, which talks about your carbon bubble, right? And McCarran Airport, and I'm not picking on McCarran Airport because I think it's a great thing, right? But you've got to figure out how to balance the equation. That's all I'm saying, balance the equation, right?
Yes.
So that water, right, just it's gone, right? And the water that's going out in the wash, not clean.
But water is not gone.
Right, okay.
It goes someplace else.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, it does not disappear.
But what they're talking
Because
about...
the system that we have on the planet, it replenishes
Replenishes.
itself,
Yes,
but it
yes.
replenishes it over here.
Right, but when I worked at the trailer store, when I was driving cab, I would hear these people talking about their massive drilling operations. They're talking about going way down, and it's tens of thousands of dollars per feet, right? Because they're going so far down instead of what I would call a more simple solution, Occam's razor. The most obvious answer is like, why don't we just do microforests, right? Why are we drilling down,
Yeah,
right?
you don't need to drill for the water.
So,
You can actually make
that's
it.
that kind of thing where you need a community discussion, you need a platform, and
Yes.
which is why we have Star Trek, why we have Vegas Roots, why we have a political party, why we're on Facebook, not for any other reasons than A, community, and B, a clean glass of drinking water.
Yes. Yes.
Like
yes.
this is not an unreasonable idea or request. And so we all figured out how to get along, and we all figured out how to get along, talk to each other, because we do believe in two things. We believe in the IDIC, infinite diversity and infinite combination. And it's Spock and his symbol. We also believe in the prime directive, right? Free will, call it whatever you want. Self-determination, that was the whole point of the data story, right? Like, we don't want to tell you how to live your lives. We just want to make the valley good for everyone. And we just got a bunch of our ideas from Star Trek, which, Star Trek borrows from NASA, borrows from JPL, borrows from all sorts of, Star Trek borrows from the real world. So you have this thing where...
But the real world also borrows from Star Trek.
Right, I was going to say...
I'm working on a series right now, and basically it is the... I ran into a guy who was one of the supervisors and lead engineer for the original Apollo project.
Okay.
Nice.
And this guy, and I lived that. I mean, in 1969, when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon, I was there on Earth, but not in the moon.
I was one.
Yeah.
Just...
And so this guy
Wasn't even a
has
twinkle.
incredible stories about how all this happened and how everything came together. And I did the first episode and the sizzle reel about the stories, about the people that were involved at NASA and how they got started. And I've been to his house, and he has autographed pictures from almost every fucking astronaut there ever was, and memorabilia and stuff from I mean, when Kennedy said, hey, we plan to go to the moon in this decade, and he said everybody at NASA was freaked out, because they're going, how the hell are we going to do that? And it pushed them into making it happen. And it's awesome. Every time I talk with this guy, I freak out.
And that's where Star Trek kicks in full
Yeah.
gear, right? Because you have, if there was a patron saint of Star Trek proper, that's Lucille Ball. If there's a patron saint of the fandom, it's B. Joe Trimble and the Star Trek Concordance. And she's the lady that started all the fan base and the fan writing and
Right.
the fan letters, which gives you the original test flight, test bed, space shuttles. Like, what? No, you guys got to name that Enterprise.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
everybody's
yes,
like, what?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, we got to name that Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
And then all the actors come out, and now it's named Enterprise. That's B. Joe Trimble, right?
Right.
So, whether it's Lucille Ball, B. Joe Trimble, or our good friend David here, or yourself with this platform that you've given us, right? Star Trek is about community. At its very core, it's like how we're all in this together. How do we move forward together?
Yeah.
I think it's a crazy good point,
Star
though.
Trek is the rock and roll of science fiction
It is.
because it will never die.
Yeah.
No, it won't. It won't.
But
It-
That's
they-
First Contact,
They
1996.
However,
tried to kill it.
I know.
But they can't.
Yeah, but that line is 1996 First Contact, James Cromwell as Zephram Cochrane, when the Phoenix is taking off for the first time.
Yes.
And First Contact's coming up because that's an event at your place.
Yes.
That's a good
Yes.
segue.
20th or 23rd?
Man, I'm not that much of a nerd. Or I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't
Is it
know.
April?
April.
It's
oh,
April
no,
first contact day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
April
it's,
5th.
It's April
It's
5th.
no.
But we're having it on
No,
April.
no. First Contact Day is April 4th.
4th, okay.
Are we talking a
but
TV
the-
show or what
or
we're
like-
having at your
yeah.
place?
No, no, no. We're talking about the actual the movie.
Okay.
However,
Wait. That was a movie?
Yeah.
No.
Star Trek First Contact.
1996.
It's time to beam him off the ship.
so
I think it's the 5th too.
I believe it's the 4th, but
We're about to
it's
find out
the,
whichever
it's
phone's
Easter.
faster.
So we're having it
Shortly thereafter.
No, we're having it before.
Oh,
on
okay.
The Saturday before.
Yeah.
The Saturday before April 4th?
Yeah.
Yes, which is
So
April
that
3rd.
would be, what?
April 3rd,
Okay.
No.
which is literally
Okay,
the day
because
before.
April 4th is a Friday.
April 4th
Is a Sunday.
is a Sunday.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, I think I got it.
Get together,
that's
sorry.
it.
Yeah, 'cause April 5th.
I have
You might
therapy
wanna
on the 5th. So
Thank you. I've been there. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, man, we've run out of time.
No!
Like a long time
Oh.
ago. So I'm actually going to break this up into 2 episodes.
Oh, nice.
Pre-ship and post-ship.
Okay.
Because otherwise it just gets too long for people. They see
yeah,
a 2-hour and they go,
Yeah.
and which brings up another point, and I
he's
think that
right.
you guys might agree.
It is April 4th.
I think
Everybody
he's
talks
right.
about
I knew I was right.
You were
the
right.
current
You have to.
attention
Right.
span of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, hey, 2 or 3 minutes, you got to get your message out
Well,
there.
TikTok
8
killed it. You got to get it within 60 seconds, baby.
But wait, how do you explain binge watching then? If our attention span is only 2 or 3 minutes?
Liquor.
No, that's easy.
That's what she said.
Ah!
I don't even remember.
What is it? I don't know. The neurotransmitters like dopamine, right? Like it's heroin. Like binge watching Star Trek. It's just like similar to heroin. I'm
Yeah.
told. Like,
Yeah.
when
But
you compare.
no, the
also
point
get
is,
tranquil.
if it's something you're interested in, or if it's interesting, they will watch.
Yeah.
So
There's a
I can
tranquil
literally
element.
watch hours and hours and hours of agricultural videos. And I know people are just like, would like die. They just came and like watch. I'm watching documentaries. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm like, that's really interesting. My wife was like, can we watch something else? I'm like, hold on, this is
I'm
getting
the same
good.
way with porn.
Yeah.
I don't want to
So
talk about that.
yeah. Kids
I
may
think
be
3
watching.
minutes is about my limit there.
we
Our cadet corps maybe watching.
yeah.
You can't put those 2 sentences in the same
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
sorry.
What is wrong?
Agricultural videos and documentaries learning about carbon emissions and carbon bubbles and how to break them down and how to grow food. I'm really big on how to grow food. People say you can't grow kiwis and pineapples and avocados in Vegas, I'm like, watch me.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, I got this.
You do have to hold this beer.
When I was a youngster in elementary school, part of our curriculum at the time was we had a little plot of land, and we were taught how to grow things, and we need that back.
We need that back.
We need that back because otherwise we're not going to survive. So,
So-
anyway,
We're gonna wrap this up.
gentlemen, we got to wrap
48?
this up.
Outstanding.
You're born in 48?
I'll give, pardon me,
You're born-
47.
47.
Yeah. I'm going to give everybody one last shot to give a shout out, say what you like. I got a better idea. And I know I'm going to get the same answer from everybody, but I'm going to ask this question of everyone, okay? Ty,
Yes.
if you could do one thing to make this world a better place for everyone, what would it be?
One thing.
One thing, and one thing only. That's, you have the power to do just one thing to make it better.
Love.
Ben?
Unconditional love.
Yeah, love, understanding each other, believing in each other. You know.
Can't believe you made me give a mushy answer. No, whatever. Killing my tough guy
David?
bitch over here.
I'm gonna let my
Okay, Chris?
crew members go first.
A universal basic income for $1,000 a month for every human being on Earth.
Way to go, Yang 20. I'm going to go kind of the opposite direction and say I would want to find a way to get rid of the monetary system. I think
Oh.
the monetary system is.
Well, let me
That's
know
a
when we
good
get
idea, too.
replicators because I'm down.
I'm just a transition.
One thing I would do is get rid of the need to barter that way. I
But
think, you know,
isn't that part of what he's trying to do?
absolutely, it's the first step.
Yeah.
You can't get to my step
Right.
without going there.
And in those countries where they do that, it's working.
Yes,
And
it's
that's
Wait, which countries?
there are quite a few, and actually in Asia.
Norway.
Asia also.
What's that Rastafarian place there?
Well,
Jamaica
also,
one?
if you want
No,
to bring
I'm
it
kidding
closer to
about
home,
Hey, Jamaica?
if you want
You
to bring
can't
it
figure that
closer to
one?
home, right here in Stockton, California,
That's right.
they did
Oh yeah,
an
they did that.
experiment.
What, 500?
Yes,
They
sir.
gave everybody 500 a month.
Yep,
and
and
yeah.
all of the.
It is a basic human if your basic needs are met, that's what we're all struggling to do. We're struggling to pay our rent. We're struggling to eat, get our kids shoes and stuff like that. If all of those needs are met, the creativity with what we could do, and this is where we've lost it as a country. It's we don't make anything except iPhones. We don't create anything anymore, and that's what we need to get back to.
We're too scared to create things. So I want to.
I'm not scared.
Well,
You're scared.
I'm not scared. So there was something in the 2012 Republican presidential debate. Newt Gingrich had a proposal for America to not just land on the moon, but colonize the moon. And Mitt Romney said, that's the most preposterous thing anyone has ever said. If someone comes to me, blah, 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 and I said, that's why you'll never be president, because you lack that imagination.
Right.
That imagination to move us forward. What did Kennedy do? He says, we're going to put a man on the moon, and by golly, long after he was dead, we put a man on the moon.
Yeah.
Right? It was
Actually, we put a man on the moon within his time frame.
Oh, you're right.
Because it was
you're right.
1969,
It was.
Yeah.
July 20th, 1969.
So to answer your guys' question, Star Trek already did that episode, and I knew it just took me a second to find it. The
Talking about
neutral
sanctuary?
zone.
Oh.
There's an episode called The Neutral Zone. They find 3 people in cryogenics, right? One was a mom, one was a guitar player, and the other one was a businessman.
Yes,
And
yeah.
Picard gives that speech that parallels the 3 things that you guys were saying, right? We've moved past scarcity and the need for monetary, right? We live to improve ourselves.
So let me tell you, with that, my thing that I would change,
Yes, please.
I would take us all to the Star Trek future and make it a reality.
Okay.
Because that's the reality I want to live in. Where we're not dependent upon a monetary system. We're not hungry. We've solved hunger. We're no longer warring with ourselves. They're
Just
bigger,
for the Klingons and Romulans. And,
but they're bigger.
No.
They're bigger things than us, and we are exploring the universe.
How can you not have seen that any of the pictures or films from space and not have that feeling?
Right.
But see, you guys, you know, and this is the beauty of Star Trek, right? Everything you guys are saying, I promise you, Patrick Stewart said it as Captain Picard, right? Because in the series Picard, your favorite, right? There's this argument, this debate. He's on television, right? They're Romulans, and he's like, they're people.
Right.
There are people. There are people. And
Anyway, guys, thank you very much.
John, thank you, man.
We are
Dude. On behalf of the crew of the USS Windrunner and Starfleet the Fleet, thank you for this opportunity, bro.
Hey, just the beginning, bro.
Yes, sir. Indeed. Indeed.
I look forward to come back to talk more about Doctor Who.
Anytime.
So
Well,
yeah.
and we're only going to be here for the rest of this week, and then we're moving the studio. So if all goes well,
And I've also volunteered us to paint his new studio.
I have an army of teenagers, so all you.
well, you can see how hard it is.
For the record, I'm colorblind. Out. Just make sure my brush is in the right color.
That's it.
No, Ty, no,
all you-
no.
That's yellow, damn it!
There will only be one color.
I don't even know. I don't know if this is brown or green or red.
It's green.
Is that what we're in?
That's why we call it a green screen.
That's why I would have guessed. That would have been my guess, but it
Yeah.
could have been brown, green, or red.
Yeah, no, I
Brown,
understand.
green, and red. That's really
Hey,
right.
Hey, you guys, thanks for putting up with us again this week. And
Thank you.
like I said, you know that how I feel about sci-fi. Watch for our Seriously Sci-Fi series. This is just a taste of some of the lunatics that you're going to get to talk with and interact with. And like I
We're
always
very
say,
serious about sci-fi.
seriously, dude.
Seriously.
You can also find us on Facebook right now, USS Windrunner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Aquarius, isn't that our little escort?
It's called the Winnemucca.
Winnemucca. It's Aquarius class.
It's an Aquarius class, and it's
Winnemucca.
called the Winnemucca.
Okay.
right.
Yes, yes.
And remember, if you're going to do it,
The Winnemucca is a Winnebago.
do it with styles.
Little Styles. That's
That's
right.
it.
Nice work, John.